Okay, so we are back. To start up the introduction, let's go on. What is graphic design? So graphic design is a multifaceted field that involves visual communication and problem solving. It's a multifaceted field that involves visual communication and problem solving. So majorly, it's a way of you communicating using visuals. That's all. And then using that communication to actually solve a problem. So majorly, our goal is not only to just make designs and just for aesthetics, make them look good. That's not the plan. That shouldn't be the mindset. That shouldn't be the plan of a designer. You should actually have it in mind that, okay, I want to speak to someone using my designs, and then I would choose my visuals to actually do this particular task. So then we use so that's just all about graphic design. So using visuals to communicate, either in marketing, in the religious aspect, in the entertainment, wherever it may be that you are looking forward to go into graphics, or even if it's even printing, even if it's publication designs, even like the newspapers and the likes, the magazines, the books. You should be able to design and use all of the elements of design to actually achieve design and use it to communicate, right? So that's about graphic design. So you are using visuals to communicate. Now what we use is typography. Typography is also fonts, all this text, this kind of text. So I say typo is font or text, majorly using fonts to actually communicate, right? Arranging it in a way that it's able to get people to understand what you are designing about. So image, we use space. Space. If there was no space between this space, it would be too clumsy for you to read, and in fact you might not even want to read it. So that's it. We use shapes, we use colors. So this shape, we use colors. So those are the elements of design. So we'll talk more on it, but for now, graphic design don't have to be something beautiful. It's something that conveys message. So now let's go on to the next. So now for the last commentary, there says that it's more like you are speaking to someone using visuals, but not using words. So that's graphic design. So now let's go into the brief history. Design has started right from when man began to carve on paint. That's cave painting. He began to carve using sharp tools on caves. So that's cave paintings using symbols and hieroglyphics. So this was actually the beginning of man using something like visual to communicate ideas. So then we got to the printing revolution, where printing was invented, the printing press. That was in the 15th century, and then design was actually a profession. The professions were still coming up at those particular times. So the 15th century was where design actually was recognized as a profession. So now we have the modern era. That's the 20th century. That's where design went Art Deco, modernism. So majorly these were where the design actually started, where they will begin to combine images with text and with the color, just to make sure that it communicates the idea. So majorly that was the beginning. In fact, I actually watched a particular movie. The name is Abstract. Majorly it's not like a movie, it's something like a documentary about designing. So then it's like the woman was talking about how that she worked with fonts. She used it to craft brand identity. She used it to create flyers, and then she was almost like the trendy designer at that particular time. But what she works with the most is font. She uses font to craft a lot. So, and then that's where she'll actually earn her living, and she's actually old. So majorly that's the creativity that was in her, and then you have to make sure that you bring out your own. In fact, you don't even have to stress. Just learn the basics, continue to design. It will form out. It will form out. So because I said creativity is in you, go and find it. That doesn't mean that you should go and be thinking, you should go and be praying. Majorly, just continue to work, and you would see the aspects that would stand out in your own work. So that's it. So back to modern era. So that abstract was majorly in the modern era. It was a design related to the modern era. So now we have the digital age, and then this is where graphic designers expanded to web apps, social media, and every single part of every single part of our life now incorporated it. There was a virtual something on something like a non-living thing that can actually need our design. It doesn't have to like be physical again, so we can actually craft it on a tablet like this, where you thinking that you are not actually touching it, but you are creating something and then it's coming out. So that's the digital age for you. I think we all need it. Sorry for that. Okay, so that was by the way. So let's go on to the next slide, which is spelling towards every aspect of design. And then that's we have the branding design, we have the web and interface, that's UI, also UX. Web and interface is like how the user interface is, how this particular app looks, but the response is now the experience. The response is now my experience. Sorry. Yeah, so the response to my moving of the cursor is now the experience, right? Can you see the cursor moving? So that is the experience that we are having. So then as I click something, the response, the time it used to respond, how we over it, and how we brought the red highlight, that is the experience. That's part of the things that really affect us when we go on websites. If you go to a website and it's too slow for you, you'll be like, what's this now? So majorly, we graphic designer also does this. So we are not the only flyer designers, so don't get it wrong. We are not only flyer designers. We could be brand and identity designers. That's creating logos and brand faces for brands. The kind that will help the brand to have awareness and be recognized, and it would give a feeling of the brand. Majorly, we create designs that give a feeling of the brand to the people, right? So that's what we do. So web and interface, I've spoken about that. Web experience, I've spoken about that. Now motion graphics is like you created a graphics and then Canva does it well. You created a graphics and then you want it to not be still, you want it to move. So then you can now set the transition, you can set the movement. So maybe it will come out of nowhere and show on the screen. So that is motion graphics. And then animation, it could be 2D, it could be 3D. So that motion graphics comes in different ways. Might be the whole flyer you are animating to come out, or it can be just maybe a text, an image, everything just enters and it just enters themselves and something like that. That really works. They use it on websites and ads. Sorry for saying too much. So okay, so going on, moving forward, we have advertising design and print designs. So that designs, flyers that we used to advertise, even on social media, flyers, Instagram flyers, Facebook flyers, and the normal box flyers, all of those ones, the one that we print that they give us those days. So that is also what we do. So we also do packaging designs. We do designs for biscuits. We do designs for everything majorly. So we package packages. It could be biscuits, it could be anything. Just think of it. It's graphic designer that does it. So you can actually base in that aspect. So we have infographics and data visualization. Infographics is actually colors and shapes. So explain a particular concept, to explain a particular analysis, to explain something. Majorly, that's infographics. But for data visualization, okay, I said this also during the class that I am Crealyst. Now it's a combination of creative and analyst. So I'm a creative and I'm also a data analyst. I learned that. So majorly, I know about dashboard designs. So data visualization designs are dashboard designs. You trying to like all your analysis of a particular number, maybe sales of a company and everything. You now design it using charts, bar charts, all these our pie charts. You use everything to you use everything to represent what you analyzed, and then you send it to the company. It could be just one window, it can be 2 pages and all like that. So that's about data visualization. Then we have illustration. Illustration is majorly using simple shapes to actually develop it's either they use it to develop persons or objects majorly. So that's how it works. That's how it works. So now to the next, we have typographic designs, majorly using typo, using fonts to design, like the woman that I spoke about. So we have
editorial and publication designs. Yeah, designs for all these your new newspapers, your magazines. I know that was the kind of design that they were using during those times, for your book and the likes like that. Okay, so that is that about editorial and publication designs. You can get to know more about it. So to the next, we are going to the core concept of graphic design. So the core concept of graphic design include 3 things, and it's just like all of the things that graphic design is all about, all of the things that graphic design seeks to do. So one of the things that you should really take serious in graphic design, so you get to learn all of the other aspects that are also important. These are the aspects that you really have to get straight. So the fact that graphic design is a visual communicator, you should always have it in your mind that you are using your design to communicate. So like that, you are going to begin to grow in that aspect. So if your design is not communicating, that means you are not yet designing. So if you have it in your mind like that, it will help you to always know how to channel your mind. In fact, your mind will begin to learn in that way, such that you will always be looking for stuff to make sure that your design communicates. So graphic design is fundamentally about communicating ideas and information. So it involves translating concepts into visuals that are easily understood and engaging. So your visual has to be understood, understandable and engaging. I think there was a quote that I posted, I added to our data flyer that says that if you still have to explain what you designed, that means your design is not communicative enough. So in graphic design, we don't know about any other design field. In graphic design, you should be able, your idea should be able to communicate itself, right? So there should be like an emotional response that should come from your design, right? So that's the first one. Then the next one is the elements of design. You should understand the elements of design if you thrive in design. So majorly, even having in mind that it's a visual communicator, if you don't know the element, you would not know how well to communicate. So we have typography or font, we have imagery, we have colors, we have shapes and forms, we have line, we have texture, we have space. So all of these things are very important in design, and they help us to communicate the visual as well. So majorly, you would see in the later part of design of the class that all of these things set every single aspect of the visual. They do so much in the visual. Means each of these actually do different things in the visual, just to make sure that the visual is communicative enough, right? So that is that. Let's go on to the next. So we have the principles of design. So these principles guide the arrangement of design elements majorly. So you have to understand the fact that it's a visual, and the graphic design is the visual communicator. You have to understand the elements of design, and lastly the principles of design. So we have balance, we have contrast, we have emphasis, we have proportion, we have alignment, we have hierarchy, we have unity. So that is all about that. So these are the principles of design. This place I was just trying to explain to us that this is not a waste of time. It's a bit to actually make you really understand the basics of design, so that you can lay a very good foundation. So even as I've been saying, you will see that the design game will change. So the applications of design. So graphic design can be applied in so many fields, so many industries. So we are going to be looking at them shortly. So we have branding and identity. That's creating logos, creating brand guidelines. The brand guideline is a document that helps you understand all about a brand, the font that was used for the brand, the logo itself, the concept to the logo, the mood board, the how it should come out, how it should not come out, and a lot about that. And brand identity designs are quite very nice. If you see a very composed one, you would really love it actually. So marketing and advertising. So marketing and advertising involves designing brochures, posters, social media graphics, and digital art. So even from the digital banners to the physical banners to brochures, posters, those ones are more or less like flyers online. So posters are you can also hear online posters, like you can also hear posters for digital, because it's firstly digital before it's printed. So posters are majorly physical materials, social media graphics. So these are your Instagram post and your Facebook post and the likes like that. Then digital art, there are sizes for all of those digital arts, those arts that you used to see out there. So to the other application, we have web and digital design. So designing website layout, user interface, and mobile app graphics. Designing website layout, user interface, and mobile app graphics. So that's all about this web and digital design. I've spoken about UI UX before, so we need not to go too deep in that. So the next is print design. So magazines, book, and all these packaging designs. These are the print designs, and graphic design applies to it and does it. So we have motion graphics as next. I spoke about motion graphics the last time. So packaging designs, designing visual aspect of product. So that could be under printing design also. Okay, so let's move on to the design tools. So design tools is it ranges from a more professional to a simple model software majorly. Design tools are not something that we should determine whether it is, or maybe what do we call it now, popular opinion should determine whether it is a tool or not. Because of popular opinions about Canva is such that okay, it's not a graphic design tool, blah blah blah. Because of the fact that there are templates on it, and it's even one of the things that makes it even more lucrative. The fact that you can design from scratch on it, and you can also use a template. But Canva is also a tool, and if you get to know the things that Canva can do, you just marvel majorly. So because I actually started with Canva and then we design from scratch. When I began to tell people that okay, I design with Canva, they be like, oh, you are not yet a designer. I'm not even wondering what are they saying. I used to design from scratch. So when I began to tell them that I design from scratch, they were now okay. So forget the fact that someone is using a professional software. If that's Canva or Pixel Lab is what you can afford at the moment, you are still a designer. Let no one present what is not to you actually. So that's it. You would see Canva designs and Pixel Lab designs that are doing very great. They're combining photo room with Photopea with Pixel Lab. They want to use up to like 3 softwares to design, and sometimes I feel like wow, that's stress, and just make sure that the design comes out well. And for real, I think it's nice actually. So that's that. Now, the most important thing of calling a tool is that it can perform the fundamental design tasks conveniently. So if it cannot, maybe you can say that okay, it's not a tool again, it's not a design tool. Or if you can see that it can perform all the fundamental design tasks, you can help you choose shapes, you can put images on it, you can on Canva you can manipulate all of the images. It doesn't mean that it's an editing software, so like Photoshop, but you can manipulate on Canva and your designs will come out nice and every single thing are still okay on it. So why is it not a design tool? So professional or native design tool, the ones that we know or the ones that we ascribe to Agbas, is the Adobe Photoshop, the CorelDRAW, the Adobe Illustrator, which is a vector software, and the smartphone web tools. Maybe in the meantime, just when we go into design tools, we get to understand more about them. But for the smartphone or web tools, we have Canva, we have Pixel Lab, we have Photopea too. So let's just check out the icons and see how they look. This for Photoshop, this for Adobe Illustrator, this for CorelDRAW. So if you see anything like this, is CorelDRAW. Wonder why they chose parachutes for their stuff. Okay, so this Canva, this Pixel Lab, this is Photopea. So this is how it looks. Photopea is like a web version of Photoshop. Yeah, so that is it. Okay, so I think that's all. And the last slide says thank you and speaks about the assignments that you were supposed to do. The fact that you should just notice every piece of design around you and just think of how it's done right. So I think we are good to go, and this was majorly the things that were spoken of in the class. If you love to know more, just make sure that you avail yourself for the day too. So thank you so much. Okay, have a nice day.